Want me to explain it? I can, but everything is your fault. Everything is your fault comes back to like you are the CEO of your life. And what it was I had made so many excuses as to why I was late to calls, why I didn't hit my assignments, why I didn't do what I needed to do. And he had this really tough conversation with me. And he said, Rob, if a business succeeds, whose fault is it? And I was like, I mean, what do you mean? He's like, if a business succeeds, all 1,000 employees move into the direction they have a successful year, whose fault is it? That the person who orchestrated. I was like, the CEO. He said, if a business fails, whose fault is it? He said, Rob, if you get to the end of your life and it's not what you wanted it to be, and you didn't create the life that you wanted to, make the money that you wanted to, have the success, the love, the happiness, travel the places that you wanted to, whose fault would it be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, if you did create the life that you wanted to, you had the love, the happiness, the abundance, everything that you wanted, whose fault would that be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, the problem with you is you're treating this life as if you're the victim. And what you need to realize is that everything that happens to you is your fault, and that your life won't change until you decide that you want to be the CEO of your life.
I don't know how that would have felt when you heard it at that point.
It hurt.
How did you transfer that energy to be like, no, this is actually helpful, it's not hurtful?
Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit hurt, but I felt truth. I felt like, yeah, he's right. Because when I look at the path of where my life was going to go, had I continued to blame everybody else, it wasn't going to be good. But when I looked at people who I knew who took full ownership of their life, one of my probably my first mentor, without even it being on purpose, was my Uncle Dan, who was an incredibly successful guy, had a bunch of success, but also was incredibly giving, always so loving. And he never blamed anybody else for when his business failed and he brought it back from nothing and rebuilt it. He never blamed anybody else, but he always took everything as his responsibility. And, it's like, not everything that's happened to you in your life is your fault, but whatever it is that you have, it is your responsibility to work through. Where it's like, it's not my fault that my father is an alcoholic, but it's my responsibility to do with it because it's a reality that I have, and I have to work through those things. And so for me, it was like, it rang really true where I was like, okay, it's right. And if my life is going to change, I have to be the person to change it. That conversation, I could say, is absolutely 100% the one conversation that changed my life completely.